Hazur, our next respected speaker is Lord Ahmed of Wimbledon. Lord Ahmed is a Conservative peer in the UK House of Lords and was ennobled in January 2011. He serves on the government front bench as a government whip in the House of Lords. He has served the party since 1994 at a local level, including the vice chair. Tariq has been promoted by the grace of Allah to the government's front benches and will be serving as a spokesman for foreign affairs. He's, by the grace of Allah, only one of two Muslims serving in the government and the first Ahmadi to serve at a ministerial level. I would like to congratulate him on his new appointment and would request him to come and say a few words.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. My beloved Hazur, Amir Sahib, and dear brothers and sisters who join us here on the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat UK. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. It is a most humbling and honoring experience for me to be standing in front of you today. Foremost, of course, that I do so in the presence of Hazur. Hazur's personal support and love and affection that he has shown to me since I've entered Parliament is beyond words, and for that I am eternally grateful. Equally, Hazur is aware, and some of my friends, I'm perhaps, as Amir Sahib has said, the newest member of Her Majesty's government. To those friends and colleagues I haven't yet told the news, I literally only found out from the Prime Minister on Thursday, late afternoon, that I was actually joining the government, and I look forward to serving my country at an international level, at a ministerial level, inshallah, and seek your prayers in that regard. I have, over the last year, had an opportunity as a member of the British Parliament to travel widely, and I have had the opportunity to visit various countries, including Indonesia most recently, Bangladesh, and some other parts of the world. And indeed, as I informed Hazur, my next visit abroad, inshallah, will be to represent the Prime Minister in a meeting of centre-right parties of Africa in one of the more familiar countries for Hazur in Ghana. And I've already informed Amir Saab, Wahab Saab, of my arrival there. We heard a few moments ago the words of Jeremy Hunt, the Secretary of State for Culture. And in that, he said that the Olympics presented a time to inspire a generation. Well, my dear brothers and sisters, my beloved Hazur, they need to look no further. It's not just inspiring a generation. It's about inspiring generation upon generation upon generation. And the epitome of that is the Jamaat that I am so proud to be an integral part of. I grew up as an active member of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community because of the values instilled by my beloved parents, the love of my family and friends, but the importance of love of Khilafat, the love of community, which does not mean being inactive. It means rolling up your sleeves and being involved in whatever capacity. And I know my fellow parliamentarians and guests who have attended here, when they look around the Jalsa Salana, they are absolutely amazed by the sacrifice, the absolute devotion and dedication by young and small, old and elderly, men and women, young boys who serve water in the very marquee as they're doing now, and young girls who are serving in the Lajna marquee. And I thought back to that Inspire a Generation, and doing an interview as I was yesterday, one of the other guests who was visiting, a journalist indeed, said, Lord Ahmed, as I look around this year, I see a new generation coming forward. I see new faces. And it struck me, our Jamaat is an incredible evolutionary Jamaat as well, that those who, like me as well, look to the grace of years and step back from the institutions of Khudam al-Ahmadiyya. But at the same time, we seek to pass on what we've learned to the generation that follows, so that they may excel and go to new heights And alhamdulillah, a mark of an advancing community, an advance of a noble community, an advance of a true community. The true sign of Allah's community is advancement. And alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, the Jamaat Ahmadiyya epitomizes that level of advancement, and long, inshallah, will it continue. And I assure you, my dear brothers and sisters, when you talk to parliamentarians across the world, and particularly in those countries where our community is tried and tested and is put through great tribulations, the fact that our Khalifa, Hazur, beloved Hazur, continues to guide us, that, O ye who oppress us, we seek only to pray for you and pray for your guidance. That is the sign of a true, living, God-fearing community, and the Jamaat Ahmadiyya is just that. Hazur, finally, I would like to, on behalf of Her Majesty's government and indeed the Prime Minister, present his words to the Jalsa Salana on this august occasion. And the Prime Minister asked me to convey the following sentiments. He sends his kind regards on behalf of Her Majesty's government to His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad and to all attendees of the 46th Jalsa Salana of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community United Kingdom, and wishes to extend a warm Assalamu alaikum to all attendees. The Ahmadiyya community, he writes, is an excellent example of how faith communities make positive contributions and play an active role in enriching our wider society. He talks about our work of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in ensuring that Islam, when it is scrutinized, presenting it as a message of peace. And he also writes that in this, the year of Her Majesty's Diamond Jubilee, the thousands of pounds you have raised for UK charities through your fundraising efforts are of particular note. He also says, I would like to make special reference to the letter I received from Your Holiness and express my support to the sentiments he expressed of the need for all nations of the world to play their part towards creating a peaceful world and a positive legacy for our future generations. My best wishes to you all for a successful convention. The Right Honourable Prime Minister of Great Britain, David Cameron. Beloved attendees of Jalsa, beloved Hazur, I finally seek only your prayers that may God continue to guide me to serve my community, my nation and my country to the best of my abilities. Wa akhiru dawana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Nare Takbir! Lord Ahmad, Prime Minister of Great Britain, Jamaat Ahmadiyya UK, Khilafat Ahmadiyya.
Hazur, the Deputy Prime Minister, Nick Clegg, is not able to be with us today, but he has sent a video message to the Jalsa Salana proceedings, and I'd request MTA to kindly please pray it.
I'm sorry that I can't be with you today for your Jalsa, but I wanted to convey my best wishes for the event. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the Ahmadiyya Muslim community for its tireless efforts to promote peace here at home and around the world. You have raised a hugely impressive £350,000 for British charities too during the Diamond Jubilee celebrations. And the message you spread, love for all, hatred for none, is one every community can learn from. I had the honour of meeting His Holiness Hadrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad a few years ago in the House of Commons, a man of great wisdom and kindness. And I know that under his leadership, Ahmadi Muslims have helped people in need right across the planet, from feeding the homeless in London to building schools and hospitals right across the developing world. All voluntary, all funded by the community itself, all truly remarkable. I know despite all its good work, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community suffers persecution in some countries where you are denied your right to practice your faith and where your members are killed simply on grounds of faith. And I assure you that we Liberals stand by you in condemning such persecution, and we call for the upholding of human rights for all. I know that you work closely with some of my Liberal Democrat colleagues, Ed Davey, Lord Avebury, Baroness Ludford, Tom Brake, Paul Burstow, to name just a few. There are a great many values we share. Like you, Liberals have long stood against hate and extremism, championing tolerance and freedom, and of course equal rights. And I very much hope that in advancing our shared values, we can continue to work hand in glove. So again, let me wish you well for your convention and for the future too. To all 30,000 attendees and the millions more watching via satellite television, I wish you Jalsa Mubarak.
Nare Takbir! Deputy Prime Minister, Jamaat Ahmadiyya UK, Khilafat Ahmadiyya, Khidmat Insaniyat.
Huzur, our final speaker this afternoon is a very good friend of our Jamaat, Ed Davey, Member of Parliament for Kingston and Surbiton since 1997, is the Secretary of State for Energy and Climate Change. He was previously the Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State at the Department of Business, Innovation, Skills, with responsibilities for employment relations, consumer and postal affairs. As I mentioned, he's a very good and long-standing friend of the Jamaat and regularly supports our work. We are delighted to have him with us today, and it gives me great pleasure to ask Right Honourable Ed Davey to come and say a few words.
Your Holiness, ladies and gentlemen, Salana alaikum. Normally I'd be bringing greetings from the Deputy Prime Minister, Nick Clegg, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, but you've seen his personal video today. But in speaking to him about the work of your community, he, as many politicians are, has been impressed by the leadership that Your Holiness has shown in the campaign for human rights worldwide and the campaign for peace. The way you've conducted that campaign in this year of the Diamond Jubilee, so that people could see it on the buses in London and around the country, and the way you are distributing, with many people here working hard to distribute 3 million leaflets to make sure the true message of Islam, the message of peace, is known to the people of Britain. That is inspiring leadership indeed, and I'd like to thank you and congratulate you. But you have also shown leadership, and this community has shown leadership, not just in spreading the message, but in taking action to tackle the causes of conflict, the causes of war, the causes of hatred and discrimination through these campaigns, but also through many and varied projects around the world, practical help. And I believe people who seek after peace, people who want to lead with peace, people who want to show the peace in their hearts to the rest of humanity, need to tackle the causes of war and conflict to prevent conflict in the first place. And when we look around our world today, we see too many causes of conflict, but one cause that worries me greatly is access to resources, justice, access to clean water, access to energy. And we have future threats that face our world. The threat of climate change. And as Secretary of State for Climate Change, I'm determined to make sure that the government does everything it can in order to prevent that happening. But you and your community have shown leadership with Humanity First and the Water for Life programme, digging wells, filtering water supplies. You have brought clean water to many, many people. But this challenge is one that will continue to face us. I've represented Her Majesty's government conferences with countries from around the world who are tackling climate change now that's affecting their countries now. Islands from the Pacific that are threatened with being totally submerged. People from low-lying coastal areas who suffer already from floods. These people talk about the need to save their lands, the right to exist. If we do not reach out to those people, help them and stop the causes of climate change, we are failing in our duty. but for all God-fearing people. We know that with divine blessings, God and nature have brought us the ability to tackle climate change, the power of the sun, the power of the wind. And I was privileged to talk to Your Holiness earlier today to learn about the work that the Ahmadiyya community is already doing in bringing solar power and solar energy to some of the poorest people in the world. And I salute you for that as Secretary of State for Energy, and I hope we can work together, and you will work together with many others around the world to bring that energy as well as the clean water to those poor areas. I'd like to conclude just by noting that we've had some very happy weeks here in London with the Olympics and the Paralympics. And I, like many of you, no doubt, have been privileged to see some of the events and to visit some of the events and to visit various places holding the events. When I came here today and I saw the flags from around the world, I wondered if I was at another Olympic venue. The way that is organized here, I could have been. The volunteers, the friendship, the face of the world is here today. I salute you, and I want to pledge to continue to work with you all so we do have in our world love for all and hatred for none. Thank you.
Nara